So here's an account, one of my old ad accounts, and these are a bunch of CBO campaigns that I ran. And as you can see, like I've done a lot of testing with CBOs. So just on this account alone, I spent around $80,000 and generated about $150,000. And this is only CBOs. So I filtered it by my campaign name CBO. So I might have missed a couple, but I wanted to show you that these optimization and techniques and methods that I'm showing you are from legitimate accounts that I'm running and stuff. So this is knowledge that I've grown through spending money on Facebook, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to share it with you guys. What is up, YouTube? Dylan Pearson here, and I am super excited to show you my exact campaign budget optimization strategy that's been working very well for me. So one thing I want to show you before we get into the method, here's a CBO campaign. And as you see, the first day I launched it had a 1.41 return on ad spend. Let's see the next day, 1.96. Let's see the next day, 2.16. Let's see the fourth day, 3.30. So how did I go from having a 1.4 return on ad spend to consistently remaining around a 3 to 4 return on ad spend? Well, that's what we're going to cover. And if you're new to my channel, I'm super happy to have you here. Make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as I drop a video just like this one, a minimum of 2 times per week, always super high quality. And also another reminder that once I hit 500 subscribers, I'm doing a free 30-minute consulting call, whether it's for your Shopify store, Facebook ad account, or your just overall business. Completely free, something I usually charge upwards of $500 for. So we're almost to 500 subscribers, so don't miss out on that. Anyways, let's get into this method. So this is my CBO method, and the way I look at it, it's kind of weird, but my view on it is that CBO is essentially handing your children over to a robot and saying, here, please take care of them. And I'm going to use that analogy throughout this entire presentation, so remember that. So there's a major CBO update. So initially, CBO was going to release for everybody widespread. Basically, like you would have no way to access previous ad set level management in September. But that has changed, and now CBO has been delayed until February 2020. There's a but though. If you only use CBO in your ad account right now, your account will be locked into CBO in September. So how do you prevent that from happening? Spend some money on non-CBO campaigns and you'll be good to go. Just remember that. So you don't want to be locked in at any point. So until they make you do it, don't do it. Okay, anyways, so back to that analogy. So the whole handing your children over to a robot. So this is kind of my theory on CBO. In order to provide our children, which are our ad sets, with a greater chance of success, we need to provide the robot with good children. And there's a few ways that I do this. So this is the qualified criteria an ad set must meet for me to know that is ready to be raised by the CBO campaign. And this is it right here. So the first thing, it needs a minimum return on ad spend of 2x. Anything lower than this is going to be hard to maintain profitability at scale. So what I'm looking for is minimum, absolute minimum of a 2x return on ad spend when I'm spending greater than $50 a day on it. In my opinion, $50 a day is really that sweet spot for good data per day. And really, it just gives you a good idea with the analytics to come in to make an educated decision on an ad set. So if it's got a 2x ROAS and you're spending more than $50 a day, that's the first thing. Next, it must have a minimum of 10 plus purchases. I've seen ad sets that get a couple purchases, have like a 4x return on ad spend day, and then they just drop off. Why? Sometimes you just get lucky. And this is one thing I see a lot of people doing too soon, and one thing that I was doing way too soon is just jumping to conclusion. You want to make sure that your ad sets and conversions are consistent. So if it has 10 plus purchases, you can put a check marks next to that box too. The third thing, it must have 2 winning creatives in the ad set. When you're using CBO, it's going to be hitting a lot of new people very, very quickly. And the last thing you want to happen is your ad to fatigue very quickly and not have a second backup option. So the only time I consider CBO is if I have a minimum of 2 winning creatives in that ad set. And if maybe you have 2 winning creatives in another ad set, and then this ad set, only one of them is performing, I'd kill the one that's not performing and try to, come up with something new. and get that second winning creative in there. It's winning creatives is a minimum in my opinion. Next up, a 2+ million audience size. And I know, like, if you're doing lookalikes in Canada, New Zealand, Australia, United Kingdom, it's going to be smaller. So how do you kind of get over that hurdle? I stack them. So basically, I'll take very similar looking audiences. So let's say I have a 1% audience, or let's say a 0 to 2% in the UK and a 0 to 2% in Canada that are performing very, very close to one another. I'll stack them, and I'll do that with other ad sets with the same quality of traffic, or with the same quality audience. So what I'm looking for when I'm talking about quality is really the lookalike amount. So if it's 0 to 2%, I know that's a higher quality audience than 7 to 8%. So I try to keep the similarities close between the audience. It just, in my opinion, works better with the robot, CBO. So that is the fourth thing. So basically, I'm looking for profitable ad sets with a decent amount of ad spend that show consistent results with a multitude of creatives in the ad set, and then finally the audience size. So if it checks this off, I know that this child right here is ready to be raised by the CBO robot. So here's the procedure. Now we hand off our children to the robot. How do I structure my CBO campaigns? What are my settings? And really, what do they look like? So this is it right here. So I want you to look at this as a campaign with the ad sets in it. So this is a CBO campaign right here, and these are the various ad sets. So I have one with an audience of 5.3 million, return on ad spend of 2.7, and a cost per purchase of 13. Next, 4.5 million, 2.3, and 15 cost per purchase. Here's a stacked one, as you can see, and then here's a fourth one. I want you to take notice of a couple things here. The similarities between these ad sets are pretty noticeable. They all have a relatively similar cost per purchase within, $4 to $5 max, 13, 15, 14, and then this will average out to be about 12. So they're all within $4 of each other. That's one thing I think is very important. Is I've seen better optimization when the cost per purchases are also very similar. Next up, the audience sizes, pretty close to one another. You can range up to like that 7 to 10 million. I know some people are doing some crazy sized audiences with smaller ones. So I've tried that, and I have an audience with 32 million running alongside some with like 2.5 million. And what I'm seeing is that CBO campaign just overly spends on that huge audience. And it's kind of misses out on the other opportunities the smaller ones are presenting, and it's just constantly spending on the bigger ones. So in order to get that somewhat of an even ad spend and just equal opportunity for each of these ad sets, I think audience size plays a huge importance. And then next up, I would say the cost per purchase. So these are the main two criterias that I'm kind of grouping audience together in a CBO campaign. Next, you might see I have 4 audiences. I found the best results come when I use between a minimum of 4 and like a max of 6. So it's a pretty small range that I've found success with. But if you're gonna use more, you're gonna need to spend a lot more to allow Facebook to optimize in the CBO campaign. So I found the sweet spot for me personally is 4 to 6. So let's take a look over here at my campaign settings. How do I do my budget? Once again, you need to be ready to spend when you launch a CBO campaign. I use $100 times the amount of ad sets. Facebook has to optimize in order for a campaign to work. And, this might seem pretty intimidating, but if it meets this criteria, you're going in there with very good ad sets. You should have confidence in it. And then we'll kind of touch on that, why you need that confidence here in a second. I use a conversion optimization as one-day click, unless, of course, you have like a pretty high-priced product. I like one-day click. It's just, a consistent thing that I use in CBO. I don't really use it too much when I'm testing and stuff, but just when I'm scaling, when I'm really putting money behind it, I use one-day click. And here's the next reason you need that confidence, the optimization period. I let this CBO campaign run 3 days before doing any type of analysis on the results. So if I'm spending $400 a day, that's $1,200 spent before I even look at it. And so this is why you need that confidence that you're putting in good ad sets and that you can just trust this robot to give you return on the money you're investing in it. So 3 days before it's optimizing, and as you saw in that intro section, actually I'll pull it up right now. So this was an ad account where I was running. Okay, so here I launch it. It actually lost a little bit of money that day. Maybe not. It probably just right about broke even. Next day, it started optimizing. Third day, it started doing real well. And then the fourth day, it drove a really good return on ad spend. So this is what I see really with all of them. And I don't know if there's any reason behind it. Maybe if I put more money behind it, it would optimize quicker. But I've just found this to be the sweet spot. So 3 days before analysis. Scaling, I increased the budget anywhere from 25 to 50%. That's just a personal thing I do. The great part about CBOs is they make it incredibly easy to scale. No duplicate, horizontal scaling or anything like that needed. You can just increase the budget to a certain extent. I've seen people do like 500% budget increases. That's a little crazy for me, but it worked for them. But I've been sticking to the 25 to 50% budget increase just because, I'm constantly watching this audience fatigue and whatnot. And then moving on to the last setting, and not really a setting, but just how I structure this, is my creatives. Speaking of the fatigue, that will happen quickly when you're putting a lot of money behind these audiences. And what comes along with ad fatigue is frequency increases. So as frequency increases, the people that don't want to see that ad multiple times will start reporting your ad. Your page quality score will lower. Facebook might ban your ad account. So don't let this happen. And I'm personally testing 4 new creatives every single week. And as I find winners, I move them into my CBO campaigns and my interest campaigns, my LLA campaigns. I just move them. I'm just constantly testing them. And then when I get the winners, I move them in. So what's the summary here? CBO needs good data, a decent amount of money, and most importantly, time to fully optimize. In terms of testing, I still recommend the testing method that I outlined in my completely 100% free Facebook ads course on my channel. Watch that. That is the cheapest way to test that I've seen so far. Number 2, CBO is going to continue to improve. Sorry, I just noticed I left this text over here, but CBO will continue to improve. It's artificial intelligence. It's machine learning. Everything's moving that way, and there's a reason that Facebook pushed it back. I don't think they had complete confidence in their software yet, so it's gonna get better. Next, go into CBO prepared with an artillery of great audiences and great creatives, and you'll find success with CBO. And that's really all there is to it. So follow this. And this is exactly what I personally do to scale my campaigns and increase budgets. And let me pull up another ad account here to show you. So here's an account, one of my old ad accounts, and these are a bunch of CBO campaigns that I ran. And as you can see, like I've done a lot of testing with CBOs. So just on this account alone, I spent around $80,000 and generated about $150,000. And this is only CBOs. So I filtered it by my campaign name CBO. So I might have missed a couple, but I wanted to show you that these optimization and techniques and methods that I'm showing you are from legitimate accounts that I'm running and stuff. So this is knowledge that I've growing through spending money on Facebook, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to share it with you guys. So if you could, please leave a like on the video, and I will see you in the next one. Dylan out.